The majority of us will agree. A very important topic is the transition from wearing the uniform to civilian life. Let's see what the senators ask and Mr. Collins answers.
Let me talk about, for a moment, transition to civilian life. One of the most dangerous circumstances in the well-being of a member of our military who is soon to become a veteran occurs at that point in transition. It is a time in which there is a sense of loss of belonging, of camaraderie, of mission, of purpose. It is a time in which suicide ideation is more prevalent. And we have a requirement that the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Department of Defense cooperate in a program to properly assist military men and women as they depart active duty. I want to hear how much you value this process and, in fact, how much you value the requirements, because the Department of Defense and the Department of Veterans Affairs have failed to appropriately and adequately implement that caregiving time and to provide the necessary transition support. It is hugely important. It certainly is important to the life of that service member. It's also important to our recruitment and retention of future members of the military. Comments?
Mr. Chairman, you've hit it perfectly. I mean, this is not just a taking care of our military, our veteran coming out from DOD and then transitioning to a VA care as they choose, but it's also, if you go back even further, to me, this is a recruiting issue. This is part of the whole life cycle of a veteran. And if you have good experiences in the DOD, they have bad experiences for some reason if they had a VA, or vice versa, you're having people who served then telling their children and others, I don't want you to serve. This, to me, is an all-encompassing issue that we've got to work on. And as someone, especially as you talked about earlier, transitioning becomes that time in which, for some, they don't have that grounding anymore. They need that connection. And we've not done a good job of connecting the dots. One of the things that should disturb all of us in this room today is the 17 number that is often used to 17 veterans who die by suicide. And when we understand that, here's what we have found, that over 40% of them had never connected with the VA. So, Mr. Chairman, you have my complete assurances that not only are we going to be a priority, it is going to be an extra priority for me, because I believe we can use all assets, not just DOD and VA, but state veterans associations as well. I'm willing to look at any way we can make the connection to make those transitions as easy as possible.
As a wounded vet who transitioned out, my wife was also active duty. We served together at the same time. The hardest part about VA care, I've found, and most of my peers from the GWAT generation, I think, agree, is the handoff from active duty healthcare, the handoff to the VA. Unfortunately, I was fortunate enough, I had a fantastic handoff. Disabled American veterans helped with my transition, but very, very few veterans end up in that spot. How can you, as the VA Secretary, ensure that we have a smoother and seamless handoff from active duty members, so when they enter the VA, medical records are ported over, care is ported over, and it happens seamlessly for the veteran?
Senator, as we just discussed, I was previously discussing this in that transition with the chairman and all. It's the most important for the family itself. I think you understand that with your transition, your wife's transition, because at that point there's that unsettledness. Where do we go? How do we get care if we need care, especially if there's a pre-existing or something that's been treated in DOD? How do we get by? There are several things that we need to make sure that our touches are much better. There's been some programs to make sure that we touch, the VA touches on occasions, making sure they get the transition care. If that's not happening, we need to do it better. But there is an issue that we've not discussed yet. I'm sure it's going to come up many more times, and that's the medical health records issue of the VA. That is a program now that has went too many years and cost too many billions of dollars without finding a solution. And my commitment is one of the very first priorities of this, if confirmed, is to get in and figure out why and put this on a bigger time frame to get this medical health records issue solved. I've said this, I'll say this now, and I'll probably say it again. The VA is special, but it's not unique. And hear me when I say that. It's special in who we keep and who we trust and who we take care of, and that is our veteran. But it's not unique in the sense that we do health care. Health care is done in this country every day outside the VA, as well as the largest system, which is the VA. We've got to get our health records straight so that we can have an easy handoff. What should be a simple click of the button is many times taken. I've had in my office when I was in Congress up to almost a year to get those record transfer. That leaves uncertainty for the veteran, that leaves uncertainty for the family, and makes a very unhealthy experience for those that are serving.
Well, thank you, Congressman. Thanks for your service to the country in the war. Thanks for your family service, and thanks for stepping up to serve again.
I want to just emphasize a couple of points you've already discussed. One is transition with the chairman. Critically important, and there are a number of bills out there, the TAP Promotion Act, Welcome Home Veterans Act, Combat Veterans Pre-Enrollment Act. I suspect you're familiar with them, but I just want to hear you reiterate your commitment to this transition and working with the Department of Defense, because it's a partnership that has to happen to make that warm handoff. Is that going to be a priority for you?
Yes, Senator. You couldn't have there are so many priorities in the life that you look at, you want to get started, but this one that you hit about making this transition is so important to me because it transcends just getting them into the service. It transcends that benefit that they've earned. It goes to the very heart of making sure that they're taken care of and feeling wanted. As we started a little while back, I believe it starts at a recruitment issue all the way through a retirement issue. Because if they feel like they're taken care of in DOD, then they're going to have a better opportunity if VA reaches out with a hand to say, here's the benefits you want to participate in, that they have a place there and they have a facility for them. The concern I have, Senator, is making sure that in DOD, and I've already had some look at this, is how we can do some cooperative work with the DOD and the VA. Also bringing into account the state veterans associations as well.
I
understand.
I want to emphasize that last point. I've had a proposal in the National Defense Authorization Act, gotten in the Senate, got knocked out in the House, to communicate a veteran's transition status to the state veterans facility so this person can be greeted at the airport, for example. That's the kind of handoff that I think we want. Do you agree?
I agree. Look, because it's exactly what you said. It's how you're perceived. I view the service part of the VA is its most important part. There are some times that you have to tell somebody no. There's sometimes you have to tell them we can't do something in a benefit or something else. But there's always time to make that veteran feel like they are cared for. And I think the transition time, which you're talking about right now, that sort of, as you said, that warm hug, is the thing that we need to actually look at.
And it's a critical moment, as you pointed out. It's a time of heightened risk of suicide, for example.
Transitioning from military to civilian life is one of the biggest challenges our service members face. While the Department of Veteran Affairs is tasked with helping veterans navigate this journey, many still struggle. So what are a few of the biggest issues veterans face? First up is employment. One of the toughest hurdles is finding employment. Many vets leave service with valuable skills, but translating those skills into a civilian job qualification isn't always easy. The VA offers programs like Veteran Employment Center and Voc Rehab, or VRNE now. But is that enough? Many veterans report feeling unprepared for the civilian job market, and underemployment remains a major issue. Mental health is another major concern. PTSD, depression, and anxiety affects a significant number of veterans. The VA does offer mental health services, but long wait times, the stigma, and accessibility issues make it difficult for some to get the care that they need. Those service members with a service-related injury navigating the VA benefit system can be overwhelming. Claims backlog, denied claims, bureaucratic red tape, not understanding the CFR, thinking you don't deserve it, thinking somebody else rates it more. All of these things are just compounding on service members, and it is leaving them frustrated. The VA has made efforts to streamline the process. Question is, how can the new administration make it better? It's heartbreaking, but thousands of veterans are finding themselves homeless after leaving the military. The VA has programs to address the issue, but systematic problems like affordable housing, the mental health, and employment stability all play a role. What is going on with the electronic health record? I didn't know this was a problem, and there will be future videos that discuss this more. But when I retired in 2016, I had to bring 3 copies to the VA office after spending hours trying to get my health record, and had to get the CD of all the other medical stuff that was not in the record itself. I actually still have a copy because I was warned it could be lost. And beyond that, crazy idea, I actually download the blue button report from the VA regularly, just in case they lose it from there. So there's some trust issues that I think we all have. Hopefully, they can unfuck the health record situation. The VA has made progress. I tell you that. You can see it on the majority of my videos. I'm pretty positive. But there's still a long way to go. Veterans deserve a seamless transition with proper health care, job support, and a safety net when needed. What do you think? Have you or a loved one faced challenges transitioning from the military to civilian life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. There will be more videos concerning the Senate confirmation hearing rolling out soon.